UFC 317. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'll be live for the entire card, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And first things first, fight cancellation. We had Jackson McVeigh versus Christopher Ewart scheduled, and Ewart came in thick boyed out, was like over 10 pounds above the middleweight limit, didn't even officially weigh in, and was subsequently cut from the UFC off rip. Talk about fumbling the bag. He was supposed to fight in Contender Series in like a month and a half, right, against Yuri Panfarov, and then he steps in here on short notice, totally out of camp, though. I mean, he looked chubby. I don't understand it. Doesn't even weigh in, way off, released from the UFC, and I doubt they're bringing him back from Contender Series. Talk about burning bridges. The biggest fumble you can make in your fighting life is exactly what Christopher Ewart just did. I'm excited to see more Jackson McVeigh, though, because he actually weighed in even though his fight was canceled. So respect to the Savage. Expect a rebooking from him. Let's get into the fights that are actually going down. Starting the card off, we have Jhonata Diniz versus Alvin Hines. Bit of a heavyweight slobber knocker, potentially. I'm picking Diniz, and I have been all week long. I favor the high caliber kickboxing. I think he's got a pretty dangerous hook. I think his leg kicks are strong, and just he's a big body in general. Every punch that he lands with significant impact and can potentially shut the lights off of Alvin Hines. Now, to speak positively on Alvin Hines, tough SOB. Definitely physically strong, good clinch work, closes the distance, likes to brawl a bit. Bit of wrestling. He's a Minnesota guy, and I'm sure he could maybe, attempt some single legs, maybe shoot some doubles against the cage, things like that. I feel like Diniz's grappling defense is better than it was in the UFC career start, better than it was even last time against Marcin Tybura. His punch accuracy is definitely a big factor. I think Hines, he's fun to brawl with, right? He's fun to watch brawl against these guys who are fighting in LFA that are chubby and, kind of just sloppy. But now he's fighting like a fine-tuned kickboxer who's 8-1 in MMA, and that's won fights in the UFC. I have to favor Diniz to be able to keep this fight standing. I really think Diniz is going to knock Hines out. Now, Hines does seem to have a bit of a blockhead, and maybe he's got that steel iron chin, and we just don't know. The dude might be made out of steel. He trains with Thomas Peterson, right? So I respect the Minnesota blood. Those guys are tough up there. They're usually good wrestlers, but nah. I feel like we're not in 2007 anymore. I think Diniz has improved enough in grappling where he should be okay. And it's not like you look at Hines' recent win against Billy Ray Valdez, who looked really obese 2.5 months ago. And it's not like Hines just bulldozed him and got a first-round KO. Went to the third round, and then he landed the big high kick, but he also got hit in that fight too. I'm going to say Diniz's kickboxing and punching ability just way too much. And I think Hines gets dusted within a round, probably within 2 at worst. Potentially, Hines could threaten with some grappling, back Diniz up against the cage, but big cage, a lot of space. Diniz, a lot better at striking, a lot cleaner, and with power. It's not like he's a feather-fisted technician. He's a legit pro kickboxer, and I think he's going to knock Alvin Hines out, unless Hines has some godly chin that we just don't know about yet. We're going Diniz. We're going KO, and it should be early in the night, all right? Let's look at the odds. They have spread. Wow, it was like minus 330, minus 350. We got minus 500, chat. That's crazy. Now, before I get to the odds and dive deeper, I should probably bring up the damn scales. I'm bamboozling you guys. What'd you think? I wasn't going to bring up the scales for the weigh-in show? Chill. We got Uncle Alvin Hines weighing in on the scale with, a clean shave. He honestly, like, if you squint, he looks like could be like Stipe Miocic's brother. But I'm going to call him Uncle Alvin Hines because he looks like a damn uncle. You know what? Dude's pretty strong. He looks like well-built frame. Seems like a tough guy. Seems like he'd be a demon to roll with in a grappling class. Like, that's the guy you don't want to go rounds with. Like 260 pounds and, like, actually can wrestle. But in a cage fight against a fellow pro, I mean, Diniz is a pretty large heavyweight too, and a lot more dynamic on the feet. I think that's a big difference maker. Let's bring up the face off. Let's feel the energy. Let's make it bigger. We need to feel this energy. We need to get this thing big. Oh shit, I'm moving my whole screen. Look at me. Almost fumbled the bag up in here, chat. Let's feel the energy. Bana, 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 bana. I'm telling you, it's Uncle Alvin Hines. He's happy to be there. He looks a lot older than 33, but listen, respect to him. I think Diniz is going to knock his ass out. But maybe a gutsy, meme-worthy performance. If he somehow gets the upset, that shit's a straight meme. He should lose. He's a plus 375 dog. Diniz minus 500, the favorite. The knockout is where I see this fight most likely ending. Fight ends in KO. Maybe he's going straight fight ends in KO minus 225. It probably does. And it's probably fight ends in KO favoring the side of Diniz minus 235, as good as minus 160. But there's variance of the odds, as of, the time you're watching this, they might be even wider. Diniz in the first round is plus 130. Diniz KO in the first round plus 140. I mean, Diniz definitely going to be stinging him with big shots in round one. That first round KO prop, if you're talking about round propping, not a crazy one. You want plus money on this fight? You need plus money on this fight? Diniz should get a knockout early. It should be in the first round, and it could be within the first two. The over on the significant strikes is scary. You know why? Because there is a real fucking chance that this is a one-shot hitter. KO, it could be quick. And I don't think a spread would be viable for Hines, but maybe Diniz, but then at that point, just go KO. I don't think he's winning by submission unless it's some weird DQ. I'm going Jhonata Diniz to absolutely destroy Alvin Hines in a striking fight and show levels to the stand-up game. Hines is a very throwback style, good brawling pressure, decent dirty boxing, and, fun to respect the ballistic brawling. Like, I don't know, it reminds me of something that I saw as a kid in the heavyweight division, not in 2025 in the heavyweight division. You see what I'm saying? I'm going Diniz by KO. He should destroy. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Niko Price versus Jacobe Smith. I have been picking Jacobe Smith all week, and I think he's like the biggest favorite of all time. Let's just look. Minus 2,500. I saw even minus 4,000 online. I think it was on Instagram I saw that. I don't know if that's accurate, but he is a huge favorite, and I think he's going to win. High caliber wrestling base, really good explosive athlete, like just fast twitch type of guy. Dense muscle mass, but definitely can use it, not just a block. Power in his hands, quick KO at Preston Parsons, beat the hell out of Savol back on Contender Series. He's undefeated at 10-0, fighting a 35-year-old Niko Price. I don't know. He just feels like he's like all over the place. Niko Price is like certified journeyman vibes. 1-3 in his last 4. Somehow he beat Alex Morono a year ago, but to be fair, Alex Morono is not all that. And regardless of him not being all that, Niko Price just seems to stylistically have his number. And then Themba Gorimbo bodied him, and I think Gorimbo turned out to be a real overrated fighter. I mean, Luque dispatched of him like that. And, he also lost to AJ Fletcher. And then you look at the Robbie Lawler KO in 40 seconds, which I actually picked as a big underdog call. Everybody's like, oh, Price is going to get him. Phil Rowe knocked him out, and then, he's beating Alex Oliveira. Jacobe Smith actually has potential to be a top 15 kid or a top 15 guy. I mean, he's 29 years old. It's not like he's 17. I think that Jacobe Smith is going to beat the hell out of Niko Price. I could see it being early. Like, the vast difference in athleticism here, it's like almost hard to explain, okay? You're talking about Niko Price, who kind of wings punches. I don't know. He reminds me of this kid that used to fight in my backyard when I'd have fucking, high school fucking boxing matches. Like, I swear to God, like that style, just awkward, weird. And somebody with some athleticism and some precision is going to find all the openings. And I think that Jacobe Smith is going to dispatch of Niko Price, especially a 35-year-old Niko Price who hasn't been super active. I have to favor the momentum trending upward as opposed to like some delusional faith in what maybe once was, but not really, I'm going to say that Jacobe Smith knocks Niko Price out. And, way better athlete, way more locked into the game. This is This is a certified squash match. Jacobe Smith, jacked, shredded, incredible specimen right here. Kid's got potential. I'm excited to see how far he can take it. 10-0, 29, Niko Price. This is the right fight. If he gets back-to-back big knockouts, I mean, let's jump the level. I'm curious to see what this kid can do against some good opposition. Preston Parsons is pretty mad, but he's all right. Like Parsons, I don't know, man. Is Parsons better than Niko Price? I'd like to see Parsons Price. Price is probably better at striking. Parsons better at wrestling. But I don't think it matters. I mean, I think Niko's going out. To be fair, Niko actually didn't show up in awful shape. Like, if this angle makes him look worse, but like he had a little bit, you know, the visible obliques and whatnot. Like, it's not like Niko Price is just rolling off the couch, not training and stepping in the cage. Like, he's still putting in some work. It's just, there's levels, dude. There's levels. Niko Price, BKFC 2026. Mark my words, bro. You're going to see Niko Price in bare knuckle. I think that's the direction he's going to go down after this one. Look at the difference. Look at the freak. It almost looks like if you squint, it's like Tyron Woodley a little bit with a little Phil Hawes in the mix. I think that this kid can live up to it. I think Jacobe Smith can pull through as a prospect. I think he can handle the awkward Niko Price puzzle. I feel like if he does run into any trouble on the feet, which I don't think he's going to, because I feel like it's a lot more explosive and quicker, I feel like he can definitely get this fight to the ground and control and throw good ground and pound. I'm going to go Jacobe Smith. I think this fight's got the makings of a relatively quick KO, but the odds suck, so you can't money line anything here. You can't even money line the, you know, parlay piece. Like, you can't be like, oh, let me throw a two-legger. Like, it's not going to do shit for you. Do you think Niko can go over a round and a half at plus 210? With Niko Price, it's like he was late stoppage here, quick stoppage here, decision against Garimbo. Got knocked out quick against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I could see like that kind of fight too with Jacobe Smith, who's like big, explosive athlete type. KO for Niko Price, or for Niko Price. What am I saying? For Smith, minus 350. Price by KO plus 2,500. I think if you're picking Niko Price, like the only thing you're maybe considering, does he land over 13 and a half significant strikes? And that's a coin flip. Smith over 27 and a half. It might just take one. The spread, holy shit. Crazy spread here. Yeah, I think that the only value you could find is if you believe Niko Price can survive 7.5 minutes in this fight. Can he? Do you think he can? Do I think he can? I don't, man. It's not impossible. I don't think it's the craziest bet ever, but it's an odds chase. I think that, you know, he could be put out quick. I think Smith by KO at minus 350. It's not great value, but that's a confident call. I think Smith's getting a knockout. I think he's live for a first round KO. What's KO round number 1 looking like for Smith? Smith KO 1 minus 130. Not great, but better than, you know, minus 2,500. It's one of those fights, man. To find value, it's like you're chasing. If not, maybe you put in the KO prop in a parlay. That's what I've talked about throughout the week. I think that's probably realistic. I'm going to say Jacobe Smith ends up getting a stoppage on Niko Price, but maybe he gets it in the second round. He beat Savoy in the second. So then you could ask, do you like that Niko Price over? It's like, if you're just chasing plus money and that's how you want to gamble, but the analysis tells me Smith is very live for a knockout within the first 3 minutes of the fight. I'm going Jacobe Smith by KO, and it could be quick. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshchev. So I'm going with Terrence McKinney. I have been all week. I feel like he's got to live up to it here. McKinney's always been good. It's just he blows his wad, kind of falls apart after round 1. A very strange thing that like just round 2 hits and it's like he forgets that he knows how to fight. It's odd sometimes. Like, does he gas even that? Like, not like he's sucking wind that bad. It's like he just falls apart. He was winning that Sadikov fight and then falls apart in round 2. Obviously, Slava had a draw with Sadikov, but he got cracked in that fight a bit. I look at Slava like this. Yes, he's a solid kickboxer. He's pretty decent with his body kicks. I'd say he's clean with his hands. Like, his stand-up game is precise. I don't know. His knockouts are against lesser opposition. The split decision against Jhonata, I get it. Jhonata's a brawler. Terrence McKinney just seems like such a more well-rounded MMA fighter. His jiu-jitsu is legit. He's got big power in his hands. He's extremely explosive. I feel like Terrence McKinney should be able to beat Slava. I think on the ground. I think ground and pound or I think submission are the most live outcomes here. I know Chase Hooper dropped Slava. That was like kind of a weird occurrence. I definitely think T-Rex has like levels above Slava as far as the grappling goes. I think takedowns could land a plenty here. I don't even know if Slava's getting up if he's taken down one time because McKinney can be a bit of a demon from top position. The problem is, though, round two, things kind of fumble and fall apart. Could he gas? Hopefully the habit is broken. Normally it's McKinney, quick KO or bust. He destroyed Damir Hadzovic last fight. I feel like he could do something similar to Slava. Just start really fast, take him down, and just start unloading. And the ground and pound of Terrence McKinney, his power translates to that for sure. I'm going to say Terrence McKinney with the first round stoppage. I'm feeling knockout. I'm feeling ground and pound. But a submission's not crazy. But definitely leaning towards McKinney by KO. That'll be the official call. Slava's in good shape, though. And it's not like Slava's old. What is he, 33? He's still, relatively primed. But he's a pure kickboxer against a well-versed, athletic, and I think good grappler too in Terrence McKinney. There's McKinney on the other side. Now, to be fair, this picture has you thinking it was all chill. Terrence McKinney, a.k.a. the Grinch himself, coming to ruin Slava Claus's Christmas, which is fight night for him. He got that Grinch-like grin too. You see the way he's smiling? I feel like Terrence McKinney had a bad weight cut maybe, but it's a hard cut down to 55. He had the box come up and he didn't look great on the scale. He looks all right here, right? His face is not overly sunken in, but he definitely seemed like his demeanor was like a very low energy. You could tell he cut some fucking weight. Granted, all these guys are cutting a bit, everybody responds different. But I think this could be why in round two he falls apart. So I don't know, not a red flag on the scales, but a yellow flag. I think that's a better way to put it. A little bit of a yellow flag that tells me, if he doesn't get Slava out in the first round, Slava's shredded, he's coming to fight, and we've seen him go long. Body shots, round two, the kickboxing. I feel like McKinney is live to get dusted in the second round. I don't know. I got a bad feeling. I couldn't describe this feeling during the live. I was like, all right, I got to talk about this during the weigh-in show. When I looked at the face-off, I almost got this from McKinney. I don't know. I don't know. It's like I was more confident pre-fight. The tape tells me everything, and I trust the tape. The pick is McKinney. There's no pick flip. But a confidence level drop is definitely here. Slava looked big at the face-off. If McKinney doesn't get him out of there in round number one, what happens in round number two? McKinney has not shown any evidence of being able to figure it out past 5 minutes. And Slava is not an easy guy to just bulldoze, but McKinney could definitely do it. Weird one, man. But yeah, I'm going to pick Terrence McKinney. I'm going to say ground and pound, and I do think it's live to happen in the first. He's got a big athleticism edge, and I think if he can get this fight to the ground, he can absolutely thrive. But I will say, weight cut didn't look great. There's got to be a tad bit of worry about Terrence McKinney if this fight exits the first 5. And then if Slava even defends a takedown, body shot, I could see McKinney folding. So I'm going to say Terrence McKinney to get it done. Ground and pound KO. I think he wins. Odds for him are only -148. Slava +128. Pretty competitive lines here. I think McKinney with a huge grappling advantage shows that, and I do think he has the explosiveness and the athleticism to end the fight. Now, if you have fight starts round 2, it's -105. That's interesting. What's the KO for McKinney? Let's look at that first. +165 for McKinney KO. Slava to win in round 2, +550. Let me just say this. Not telling you to go throw heat at this, but if you were maybe considering I'm a little worried about McKinney after the first round, maybe I want a little hedge. Slava to win in round 2 around +550 or as high as +900. Not a terrible D-gen hedge if you're just looking to have something, because if Slava's to win, I do think it's second round. I feel like McKinney would fall apart, but I do also have this thought in the back of my mind, McKinney could show us that he could go 3 rounds here too. So money line of McKinney, not wide. I do think he wins the fight. I do think he gets the knockout. I do think it's a ground and pound stoppage. KO for him is +165. McKinney to win by sub +275. I favor the side of McKinney going for it and getting, a stoppage with heavy shots from top position. Fight to end under 2.5 is -600, so not much there. Fight doesn't start round 3, -400, not expected to. I think this fight ends in the first 2 rounds. I'm going to say round 1, McKinney is the official pick, but the weigh-ins have me a lot more worried. Like if I was doing most confident picks right now, I do them Wednesday and trust the tape. Always trust the tape. But just my intuition, I have to have this little bit of panic on McKinney not looking great on the scales, not looking super shredded, and I don't know, feeling off at the face-off, and Slava looking good and motivated. And 8-5-1 is a terrible record on paper for a UFC fighter, but wants to keep his UFC career alive. Slava round 2 is not a wild outcome, but I'm gonna pick McKinney. But if you're looking for a D-gen bet, you're looking for a hedge, maybe you're thinking about betting Slava clause, but you're like, yo, I don't want to just play plus 128. Second round Slava, that's the mystic hedge of the week right there. But yeah, Terrence McKinney's going to be the prediction. I do think he gets a stoppage regardless of my yellow flags around the weigh-ins. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. I've been picking Viviane Araujo all week long. I've been like, worrisome picking her, 50-50 feeling. I think that she can win some key exchanges in the striking. I think she could win some key grappling battles. I think she could outwork Cortez in a really competitive matchup. There's good momentum on this side of Araujo coming off the W last time against Corinne Silva. That was a big fraud check. That was a win that meant a lot because Silva was surging. Lost to Natalia Silva, and she was dropped in that fight. But to be fair, Natalia Silva is amazing. And then a win against Jennifer Maia at the time, which was pretty impressive because like Jennifer Maia was one of the, early threats to Valentina's reign at 125 pounds. I feel like Araujo can get it in a close one, but then in the back of my mind, I hear this voice chirping, yo, if it's close, I just have a hunch that they're going to lean it towards Cortez. And I do think it's going to be close. I'm still going to pick Araujo because as we bring up the scales, you'll see she is not messing around. Viviane Araujo is here. Now, Tracy Cortez looks good. Of course, big fan base behind it. They love the lashes. They love the gat. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Brendo from chat. He's been waiting on me to say it during one of these videos. I feel like if it's close, they're going to go here. Cortez's striking's decent. Boxing's not bad. Wrestling's okay. I don't know, man. I'm just waiting for that factor that I just haven't felt. And then Araujo, look, jack, shredded. 38 doesn't mean shit when you come in shape like this and you fight all the time. Don't be deceived by the age. She's not out of her prime. If she loses, it's because Cortez is actually good. Araujo fights all the time. And then there's the face-off between the two. You can see in the face-off, both girls are very fit, right? Both girls looking, I'd say, in pretty damn good shape. Both girls looking solid. That real quick. Shredded up physique from both. At the face-off, watching the video playthrough, Araujo looked confident and in better shape. I think Araujo can win a nitty-gritty close one. It's definitely going to be a competitive fight. There's an argument on both sides. But Araujo is coming to win, man. She's in shape. And at plus 145, or excuse me, plus 185. If it was plus 145, I'd say that's kind of wide. But plus 185, and she's been wider. I don't think it makes sense for Cortez to be a minus 220 favorite. I think the lines, if they were the same as McKinney, Borshchev, that would make sense to me. But why is Tracy Cortez this wide of a favorite? I don't get it. I don't think she's done enough. Like, okay, lost to Thug Rose. Oh, well, she stepped up. Yeah, but she still got smoked. Win against Jazz Davicius. But, like, I feel like Jazz Davicius wasn't as good a year and 8 months ago or a year and 9 months ago when she beat her. Regardless of the age for Jazz Davicius, she's kind of one of those, like, late bloomers. Win against Gato. She was taken down 3 years ago. Split decision with Kish. That's 4 years. What has Tracy Cortez really done? Beat Jazz Davicius before Jazz Davicius started finding a flow. Got dominated. Her eyelash knocked out and out grappled by Thug Rose. I feel like Araujo's live to win. Now, Araujo to win a decision is 3-1. Let's see. Split decision Araujo plus 650. Split for Cortez plus 450. I'm feeling like split decision is live. I'm feeling like over 47.5 significant strikes, minus 115. If I had to call it, I'll say yes. Does she land over 1.5 takedowns? She land 2 takedowns? I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. Maybe. Spread on Araujo, minus 175. I think she's definitely more than live to nab around. I think these ladies are essentially locked in to go distance, and so do the bookies. Over 2.5. Minus 625 for an over 2.5. Woo! Value chasing. I'm going to pick Araujo. I think she finds a way. When there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, competitive fight between the ladies. And could win, but she hasn't proved it. I don't know. I feel like she's so overrated. I don't get the hype. I mean, I get it. The pretty girls sometimes get favored heavily. But I'm going to say, that Brazilian energy. You understand what type of Brazilian? The Brazilian energy is coming in heavy, Her and her wife just had a kid, all right? She's coming in ruthless, coming in ready for war. And I think Araujo is going to show some levels, man. I lean towards the Brazilian-led strength over anything else. I'm going to go with it. We're going Araujo to take it in this one, in a competitive one. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Hyder Amil versus Jose Delgado. I've been picking Jose Delgado all week. Something interesting is, wow, the people, 70%. And even during my, live poll show that I'm running, the late night live, the people were on Amil there too. I'm going with Delgado because I really favor his kickboxing style in the big cage. And I don't know, something tells me he's not one to just get bullied backwards, especially when he has a lot of room, right? If we were at the Apex, this fight changes. But we're at a pay-per-view. Hyder Amil's been crushing it at the Apex, but it's not like he's been flawless. Like, I think people are like, yo, he knocked out Ji Young Lee. Ji Young Lee's pretty bad. But besides that, that's an impressive win. I don't want to knock Hyder Amil. I think Hyder Amil is a tough motherfucker. I'm looking at Hyder Amil's win against Fernie Garcia. Yes, he outdogged him, but Fernie is not really all that. He's a bantamweight taking on short notice and even had Amil's back. And then he beat William Gomez, who's, a decent French kickboxer, but he is a French kickboxer. And he had a robbery win against Joanderson Brito, who got destroyed by Pat Sabatini. Amil's one of those berserker, pressure, brawler, wrestler types, kind of like a Chepe Mariscal style, honestly. Jose Delgado in the big cage with a sharp striking game. The key to victory is going to be for Delgado to make Hyder Amil respect his power and to make him pay. Amil has been able to walk people down with his relentless style and nothing too powerful coming back at him. He's been able to bully people. When you have a bully, you got to stand the ground. You got to push the bully backwards. If Delgado can make the bullying style of Amil wilt and move back a bit, little bit of room, it's Delgado all day. If Delgado is putting Amil on the back foot, wraps. But I don't even think he necessarily needs to. I think that would be wraps for sure, but he don't need to. He can move laterally and use the big cage and find shots from there. He can defend grappling attempts from Amil and potentially counter and get to a dominant position himself. He's a Benson Henderson prospect who's an amazing MMA mind. And I really think that we're going to see Delgado live to beat him by finish. I don't know. That's not wild to me. I know instantly it's like, okay, KO, right? I don't know. I have this weird hunch that Delgado might be able to snatch a neck. Maybe a rear naked choke. He does have 4 submission wins. Like, I think everybody looks at Delgado and they think, okay, he's a striker. Benson Henderson was a high level, grappler, wrestler, striker, blend of it all, really. I feel like Delgado could surprise Amil on the ground if they go there. A little bit of that length advantage, 5'11 to 5'9, 70-inch reach to 73. I like Delgado's chances, and I feel like as I'm talking about it, I feel like I'm picking the underdog, but I'm picking the favorite. But seeing where everybody's heads are at, it's like everybody's on Amil. There's Delgado. Yes, more of a, long striker's build. In shape, though, for sure. Shredded up abs. Amil looking jacked, too, pointing at the crowd, flexing the bicep. He's trying to build some excitement around himself. He's a 35-year-old prospect, but respect to him. Not saying he's too old for the game. He looks good. And then there's the face-off between the two. Let's shrink it down so we can see. So we can see the heights, all right? Let's look. Delgado, a little bit taller, a little bit longer. I think he's going to be too sharp, man. I think Amil is meeting his match. It's like everything just seems too good for Amil. He's an underdog. Everybody's picking him. Why is it? Now, plus 125, the odds have moved a bit because they were a bit wider. He actually opened as a slight favorite. Delgado minus 145. I feel like some folks may have felt that face-off energy. Delgado seems confident. I'm going to go with Delgado. I think he can pull through. Delgado to win. What method? Let's look at methods real quick. So KO is plus 300. Submission is only plus 360. I don't know why in my brain I was thinking it was 500. Delgado by subs, not crazy. I could see a rear naked. Fight going over a round and a half is minus 165. Definitely live to go over a round and a half. I think it's definitely live for that. Let's see what else we're looking at. Delgado gets it on the cards. I don't know. I will say if they go distance, could it be Amil pressuring, landing some key takedowns, controlling? But maybe Delgado shows his well-versed game. The thing is, the kid's a certified fucking finisher. His one loss is a decision. And it was a pressure, like wrestler-based style, but some time ago. Let's look at something here. Delgado wins in round 1 or 2, plus 165, not crazy. Delgado most significant strikes, minus 115. Amil most takedowns, plus 130. That's surprising. It's minus 160. You'd think that Amil would be live to threaten, but that's telling me something. I think Delgado's winning this fight. I think Delgado, inside distance, KO decision, plus 130. Over 47 and a half significant strikes, even money, but live, if you're looking, I don't know. If I had to call it, I'll say, yeah. I don't like the spread here. Let's see. Delgado wins in round 2, plus 525. The pick is going to be Delgado. I think he pulls this one off. I think he's live to win it with grappling. I think he can strike with Amil and then get to a dominant position. I worry about Amil getting his back taken and choked out. That won't surprise me. A submission here for Delgado, second round sub to go Mystic Mac in it. I'm going to go with Delgado to win, and I feel like Amil is too popular of a people's underdog. It's suspicious to me. Yeah, I'm going with Delgado for the dub. Next fight on the card, it is our featured prelim of the night. We have Jack Hermansson versus Gregory Rodrigues. I have been picking Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues all week. I think the stylistic matchup is actually quite good for him. Jack Hermansson is a technician. He's very clean striking, not great, but clean and effective and accurate, but doesn't have big power, doesn't have crazy explosiveness. Relatively basic, but good at it. Good at the fundamentals. He's able to like out kickbox Chris Curtis, and he beat Joe Pyfer in a 5-rounder. So there's positives, right? He's been around for a long time. Jack Hermansson beat Jacare at one point. Ground skills of Jack Hermansson are very nice. Don't think he gets it to the ground here with RoboCop. Can't see it. I don't think Jack Hermansson can out wrestle RoboCop. I do not think he can take down this big Jack, terrifying Brazilian. And then as far as the striking goes, you got RoboCop with thudding knockout power versus Hermansson needing to outpoint him for 3 rounds. I feel like we are alive to go distance in this fight, but I think big, significant strikes are going to be landing from Gregory Rodrigues. I think Rodrigues could make Jack Hermansson uncomfortable with thunderous hooks that he likes to throw. He is claiming he's going to be more patient here because he's worried about gassing. Could he get a knockout? Possible. We haven't seen Hermansson in a little while, about a year and 4 months. A little layoff, believe the shoulder. I feel like it's RoboCop's time to shine. I think he could even win the clinch battle. Like he could back Hermansson up against the clinch, control against the cage. Did I say against the clinch? I meant against the cage, but you know what I mean. In the clinch, back him up, throw some pepper and shots, land some big hook combinations as they separate, kind of make Hermansson wilt and stay away from the big power. I think much more of a threat of finish from the RoboCop side, but Hermansson's veteran savviness kind of leans me towards decision. I'm going to pick Gregory Rodrigues. I am going to lean that decision. Of course, he's got the power for a knockout. But Jack Hermansson, the chin normally holds up. Now, his knockouts are all ground and pound. He's not knocking people out. Let's look at the scales. We got Gregory Rodrigues looking like a freak, jacked, shredded, lean, has the protrusion on the left side. I think that was an accident when he was a kid. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like 80% sure it was an accident. And then we got a shredded and Jack Hermansson. To be fair, yo, did he reach out to Vitor Belfort, bro? Did they call TRT Vitor? Say, yo, we need the clinic, bro. You got one for us, man? You got one for us? Whoa. Jack Hermansson, I feel like he looks more jacked up than I'm used to. Maybe I'm just overrating it because he's been out for a while, but he looks in incredible shape, man. Respect to Hermansson coming in ready. And that leans me more towards, like, I think it's a decision. I think it's a hard fought decision. There's a face off between the two. I'm going with RoboCop on the cards. I think he can do enough to win. I think he can land bigger shots. He could, like, bust up the nose of Jack Hermansson, hit him with some power. If it was a 5-round fight, I would feel like there's an argument for Hermansson. But in a 3-rounder, I got to favor RoboCop to get his hand raised. I'm going to say decision. He's got knockout power, though. He's a KO threat at all times. Minus 220 for RoboCop. Plus 185 for Jack Hermansson. I'm going for the side of RoboCop. I think he pulls through. Let's see what else we're looking at. Let's see what else. Over 1.5, minus 275. As scary as RoboCop is, I do believe Jack Hermansson could last over a round and a half at minus 275. Over 2.5, minus 135. I'm going to have to say yes. I do think it's going to be a sweaty one, but I do think so. If I had to tell you, right? It's a pay-per-view. I got to tell you. Rodrigues decision plus 210. What's the KO? Rodrigues KO plus 175. Too close money for that KO. Jack Hermansson is not a slouch, bro. Like, yeah, Thiago Santos knocked him out back in the day. I don't know. He's got a bit more of like a deceptive power threat. And that was years ago with like a weird blitzing barrage. And then he also got knocked out by Jared Kennedy. That was years ago too. I like that decision, man. Rodrigues unanimous decision plus 250. I don't like the spread. I want to see these significant strikes. Rodrigues most significant strikes, minus 130. I say yes. Rodrigues most takedowns. There might be no takedowns, but if I had to say there was a takedown, I lean towards him. Lean. Over 62.5 significant strikes. If it goes distance, I lean yes. I'll lean yes. I have to. I know some people like the prize picks. They're asking me. I'll be like, all right, let me drop you some. Hermansson, spread, minus 105 if he makes it close. RoboCop, if he dominates, minus 125. Forget the spreads here. But I'll say more significant strikes for RoboCop makes sense. And it could pass the number. And I'm going to say that he gets it done. I'm going to pick unanimous decision. Power is definitely a threat, but Hermansson, good chin, good conditioning. A guy that's in shape like that's hard to put away. Even if he gets rocked, I could see him recovering. 3-round fight, decision sounds good to me. I'm going RoboCop. Let's keep running. Let's jump to our main card opener. If you guys are watching and you haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button too if you like what you're hearing. We got Payton Talbott versus Felipe Lima. I've been picking Felipe Lima. I think Felipe Lima has a clear advantage in grappling. And when you see the scales, dude is in shape. He's at All Stars Gym. That's a badass gym in Sweden with some nasty wrestlers, man. Some nasty grappling threats, well-rounded fighters. Hamzat came out of that gym originally. Gustafsson. There's more. Okay, there's more. I'm like, not talking about Sopai. Sopai's a nasty prospect too. Felipe Lima's a problem, guys. He's good. Payton Talbott's a slick striker from the outside. He's got good straight punches. He's precise with those straight punches. He times his shots well. But his grappling got exposed so badly against Barcelos. I know people are like, oh, but Barcelos, 5-time wrestling champ, BJJ champ, whatever. Barcelos, I never looked at Barcelos and said, yo, he's amazing at grappling. Yeah, he's got, good grappling and he's got the base, right? The credential is there. But it's not like he was grapple fucking Cody Nolov. Oh, well, Cody can wrestle, but Davis and Figueiredo bodied Cody on the ground. Barcelos didn't do that. Like, yeah, he beat him. I get it. But, dude, he bodied Payton Talbott. He bodied Payton Talbott bad. And that was not long ago. 5 months. Is it enough time to close the gap? And now you got a surging Brazilian prospect. Felipe Lima should be able to get this fight to the ground. He's coming off back-to-back wins in the UFC featherweight division. Now, against guys that were, Muhammad Naimov, who's okay, but actually Naimov's grappling is notable. He's not easy to control. He's got a big win against Nathaniel Wood, regardless of the controversy. He won against Bogdan Grad this, past week. And then on the other side, Miles Johns win. Like, you should actually respect the fuck out of this win. Miles Johns is good, bro. Miles Johns is real good. He kind of got screwed over getting this fight against Felipe Lima up in weight. He was supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt, and then they give him Lima. Talk about getting screwed sideways, man. That Cody No Love could have been his breakout win. Miles Johns was, surging too as an up-and-comer. But no, they gave him Lima, and they said, let's do it at 45. Felipe Lima should absolutely body Talbott in the grappling. And I'm talking so much about the grappling. It's not like Lima can't strike. He's effective in stand-up. No, he doesn't have that same emphatic flow. But to be fair, he didn't make his debut against Niko. Okay. This is like, Payton Talbott, to work up the ranks, lesser. Of course, he earned his spot, beating a tough Reyes Cortez, the brother of Tracy, on Contender. Then Niko, who actually outgrappled him in round one. Then he pulled off the finish. Cameron Simon, bro, who's not knocking out Simon now? He just got cut from the UFC. He's been chin to chin to chin to chin. Giannis Gamori, who I think is just awful. I don't even know how William Gomez didn't stop him after seeing the Talbot fight. And then Hani Barcelos bodied him. Could have done bad things to him on the street. Payton Talbott said that himself. If it was on the street, he could have done anything with him. The UFC, it's like, yo, Payton Talbott, we're off the train. You better prove it to us now. We're going to give you Felipe Lima. The blue chip prospect right now. It's Felipe Lima. It's Felipe Lima. That's simply put. Look. This, to me, this frame speaks high-level athlete to keep an eye on with a very well-rounded game plan that prioritizes the grappling strike. Look at those wide fucking lats. Bro, that's strength in grappling. Your pulling strength is a big factor in grappling. I'm telling you, man. Felipe Lima is a strong motherfucker. And then there's Payton Talbott, very strikers built. In good shape. Definitely training hard, eyes wide open. Payton Talbott's a fun style. But this matchup here, yo, he's going to need a miracle. And then look at the face-off. Oh, bro, Talbott's way taller, dude. Everybody that's picking Talbott, you're clenching your pearls now because you were relying on the stats. Oh, he's 5'10". Lima's 5'6". Is he? Even if there's shoes on one and not the other. About an inch separates them. There ain't no size difference, and Lima's thicker than him. Bro, Lima is about to beat Talbot up, bro. He about to beat Talbot up, chat. He about to beat Talbot up, chat. Yeah, I'm calling Felipe Lima, and I won't lie to you. Seeing this face off, I'm thinking he's live to take the back and strangle him. I think he's live for the submission, man. Payton Talbot, close money, though. Plus 145 isn't crazy. Lima minus 170, very playable. I think Lima wins. 2-0 in the UFC. 2 good wins in the UFC. Am I sure that Talbot's beaten Johns, who's a good wrestler, or Naima? I wouldn't be confident in that. I think Lima is about to handle Talbot and probably hand him a loss inside. He's live inside of the distance. The over is minus 240, but I don't know. This fight smells of finish to me. Fight ends inside distance plus 130 live. Lima to win via submission plus 400 up to plus 5. I think it's live. Decision plus 120. Sure. If you're going to bet the money line of Lima, maybe you put him in a parlay, 2-legger, and you're like, yo, fuck it. Let me sprinkle that sub. Better than touching plus 125. Round prop in the submission. We're talking craziness. Lima sub round 1 plus 800. I could see Talbot surviving on the ground for a round. And in the second round, he's tired. And Lima wilts him plus 1100. Most takedowns landed for Lima, minus 1,000. They're expecting him to land more takedowns. Most significant strikes, Talbot. I don't think so. I'd rather just go Lima. Does Lima land more than 2 takedowns? It depends how quick the fight finishes. I'll say he's very capable of this, and it's minus 200. Lima over 50.5 significant strikes. I don't know if he'll need 50.5 significant strikes. I'm not crazy about that. Spread, I think this side, the plus 125, Lima just absolutely run him over makes more sense. I think it could be a lopsided 30-27 or a submission. I'm going Felipe Lima. He looked incredible on the scales. Seeing them face off boosted my confidence because now it's not the fear of this absolute gap in size. Like 5'6" is just straight wrong from Tapology. Unless Talbot's really just 5'8" and then Lima's 5'7" because he's listed at 5'10". Yeah, Felipe Lima to do bad things to Payton Talbot. That starts off the main card. Next fight on the main card, we got Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I have been picking Benny. I've been picking Benny Dariush. It's one of those fights, though. Okay, so when they were initially booked, I picked Moicano. But then Moicano stepped in and fought Makhachev 5 months ago. And I was picking the I need the money Moicano. Moicano wants money, motherfucker. You know, I was picking that guy. Now he made the money. I don't need the money, bro. I don't know. And then Benny Dariush is a hard matchup. Like, even when I called it then, I was saying, yo, Dariush's grappling skills are legit, though. Dariush is strong wrestling, high level jiu-jitsu. He gets shit on with the striking because he's been knocked out. But like Benny Dariush is a good brawler, boxer, good overhand left, unorthodox a little bit with the southpaw stance, a little tricky. Moicano, more traditionalist, but it's not even traditional Muay Thai. It's more like just kickboxing. Okay, straights, but a little stiff at times, bit hittable on the feet. His saving grace has been the grappling. I picked him to beat BSD, and he pulled that off in a big upset. He fucked him up on the ground and showed levels. And then BSD, to be fair, before the doctor stoppage round 2, was having striking moments. Fight before that, Jalen Turner dropped him bad early, fumbled the bag, didn't go for it. Moicano uses his grappling, comes back, finishes the fight. Drew Dober, fight where he used some grappling. And quick sub of Brad Riddell. But who is that compared to Benny Dariush on the ground? And then obviously Makhachev ran him over. And then for Dariush, L against Saruki and Quick, L against Charles Quick. And I know you're like, oh, a year and a half off. I like the year and a half off. He's 36, man. 36. These guys, you know, they're pretty close in age. 36 is not, it's not past it. Oh, maybe, 35 curse. We've kind of seen that broken. Dariush, 36, but that year and a half off feels like a good thing. When you have 2 bad knockout losses, like take a step back, reassess, give your body some rest. He needed it. I think he needed it for his brain. The worry is I'm hearing Dariush might be retiring after. Money Moicano open up a gym. I'm hearing all different shit. So this is one of those 50-50 type fights. But I'm going to pick Benny Dariush to win it. I think he can pull through. I think his grappling's a bit better. Jiu-jitsu-wise, Moicano's slicker with subs, but Dariush better at positional control. Wrestling, I favor Dariush. Striking, it's like, Moicano's got some straight punches, but he's very hittable. Dariush, you know, more of a chance of landing a KO on the feet, I feel like, even though I don't think he's knocking Moicano out, to be fair. Yeah, I expect a weird fight. I'm going to say Dariush does a bit more, and I think he finds a way to win. Let's look at the scales. Moicano, shredded, in shape. Does he need the money? I know he wants it. Does he need the money? Benny Dariush, shit, dude. If I squint, I'm like, yo, is that like the most jacked 60-year-old on the planet? Yo, I'm telling you, bro, I think Benny got to color the hair, man. He's making himself look older. Still, good physical condition, but definitely looks, you know, a bit like one of my older uncles, to be fair. But in really good shape, you know? In really phenomenal shape. And then let's look at the face-off. There it is. Moicano wins the hairline battle. He's got the fucking fade. He's got himself lined up. He's got the gold. Moicano looks more badass, but shit, man. Dariush is known for proving people wrong. He's a faith-based fighter, man. Faith-based. You can see Hunter Campbell in the back. Look at that. Look at the eyes going back. It's funny as hell. Didn't even notice that until right now. I'm going to say that we have a victory incoming for Benny. He finds a way. When there's a will, there's a way for Benny Dariush. And I'm feeling there's a will. I'm feeling there's a way. I'm feeling it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I like Moicano. He was supposed to collab with me a while ago. He never did. It is what it is, chat. It is what it is, guys. I still like Money Moicano. But I'm going to go Dariush, man. Fuck it. I'm going Dariush. Yo, Moicano says, see now Dariush. Even though they're the same age, though, I see why he caught him, because the age gap in looks, if you saw them next to each other, it looks vast. Even odds, I'm telling you, it's a 50-50 for a reason. Betting side of this fight, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really into, especially at even money. Plus 105 for the over. I don't know. Over 1.5 at minus 205, maybe. I don't know, bro. Dariush decision plus, it doesn't excite. Nothing here interests me. I'm looking at everything. I'm like, I'm on your side. I'm like, Dariush most, maybe. Maybe. Most takedowns, maybe. But what the fuck are those odds? Does he let, ooh. Shit. Let's find out. What are the odds here? 3. I feel like the over in strikes is live. And I feel like the over in takedowns could be live for both, but I'll lean towards Dariush, but live for both. Now, to be fair, Dariush could be completely washed. Spread on Moicano to win dominantly -1, plus 135. Dariush to make it close minus. I don't like it. Dariush could be completely washed though. Like I'm talking about everything, but he looks terrible. But he's never been like that impressive of a specimen. I'm gonna go with Dariush very low confidence. But I'm gonna say that he finds a way to win in a weird fight. I can't wait to watch this fight unfold before my eyes. Be like, oh shit, this is actually happening. I'll go Benny to find a way. But we'll see. If Moicano wants the money, shit changes. Next fight, we have featured fight of the night. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. You follow it? If you know me, you know. Joshua Van's witness, stand up. I'm picking Joshua Van. I've been picking Joshua Van since this fight was announced. I dropped a video about this matchup and gave my reaction and gave an early breakdown. And I told you why I believe Van is way too slick. That was in the damn thumbnail. I think Van's boxing is a problem for Royval. He's a new generation fighter. He strings multi-shot punch combinations together so beautifully. I love the boxing of Joshua Van. I love the volume. I've been a fan off rip. I've been speaking positive since the Charles Johnson fight when people seem to just write him off. I get it. Brandon Royval coming off the big win against Tyra. Dog, I was the guy picking him. I called Royval. I dog-locked Royval. But I don't think he wins this one. I think this is a bad matchup. Especially a surging Van and a Royval who got a bad concussion in training not that long ago. I don't know where he's at right now. The miles on the car. Like, okay, oh, well, he went 5 rounds with Pantoja. Hey, he did a 5-rounder and he did a full camp there. 5-rounder there. And he got a close decision against Moreno. Went 5 there against Tyra. Got a close decision. He's been fighting 5-rounders. And then I got to say, I like the pace of Van that he showed against Bruno a lot. The big gripe that I had with him was that Joshua Van would take round 1 to just make his reads. But now Van is starting to heat up fast. Find his punch combinations a lot quicker. This is a big key to success here. 3-round fight, I think Van could put it on Royval. I think he's going to win the key boxing exchanges. I think he can fend off the grappling attack from Royval. Royval is going to look to threaten with chaotic strikes. Elbows on the inside, knees up the center, maybe even some spin attacks. Teep kicks to the body. But when they get hands for hands, Van is definitely better than Royval hands for hands. I think Van's going to find some big shots on Royval. I don't like hearing when a fighter's saying like he's struggling mid-sentence after, getting knocked out in sparring for like a week. That's not what I like to hear. And then you put him out there against a Joshua Van coming off of like a boxing showcase where he beat the piss out of Bruno Silva and dropped him on multiple occasions. I'm picking Joshua Van to win. And I think his hands are going to be the key difference maker between the two. I don't see Royval catching him with some weird shit. I think that Joshua Van's going to let some good punch combinations fly. And if you're talking about the Charles Johnson fight, I'll say it one last time. If you put boxing gloves on Royval and Johnson, I'm picking Johnson and just boxing. I don't see Royval landing an uppercut like that. Royval's striking success is based off the chaos. Like Van can thrive and find success through that chaos. I believe in Joshua Van. I'm going to pick him to pull through. I think he closes the gap well. I think he lands big shots. And I think he's about to put on a performance that has people saying, holy shit. There's Van on the scale. Incredible shape. 23 years old. Burst on the scene crazy this year. Opposite side, Royval looking pretty decent too. Right? No gripes on the scale. Let's check the energy of the face-off. Let's check the energy. Face off between the two. You can see Royval a little bit taller, but not a crazy height difference. Now Royval is the, OG vet fighting the new face on the come up. I remember when Royval went out and fought like earlier in his UFC run. I believe the Tim Elliott fight. He like burst on the scene from LFA. I think Joshua Van is it, man. I think Joshua Van's a special talent. I've been saying it since the early UFC fights. I started seeing it. Me and my brother both were like, yo, this guy's special. Him especially was like, bro, this is the guy. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yeah, you're right. This matchup here, I think Joshua Van really proves it to everybody. I don't think there's a crazy frame difference if you're like relying on, oh, Royval gets him to the ground. You think that Royval's thinner frame is going to body Joshua Van in grappling? This is the frame that bodies Joshua Van in grappling? He's going to just take his back and sub him? I don't see it. In boxing range, Van's going to be mean, yo. He's got that Myanmar blood. There's savages doing Letway in that country. You understand? I'm going with Joshua Van. He's a slight favorite, minus 127, and he's a piece of the two-leg Lock City parlay for the plus money dog lock this week. I think Van pulls through, minus 127 off the money line, close money. They're definitely money lineable, you know? Plus 107 for Royval. Let's see what else we're looking at here. If you want to, get a full stat sheet through everything, over minus 185, possible. And I'll lean towards him getting a decision because Royval's always had a good chin. So I'll say yes to that. But that concussion worries me. We just ain't seen it in the cage. Van by KO plus 425. Officially, I do lean the decision at plus 145 range. Let's see what else we're looking at. I want to see some of these strikes. Van most significant strikes is minus 250. I agree with that. Royval most takedowns. I mean, maybe. Probably. Van is less likely to shoot. So if there is a takedown, it'd probably be Royval's. Van over 94.5, minus 150, maybe. Live for it. I lean yes. Something's telling me yes, but I'm not crazy. I'm not saying go bet it, but I know some of you guys might be on Prize Picks trying to throw something down around that range. Does Royval land a takedown? He might. Does Van? I doubt it. I doubt it. Van to dominate, minus 200. Royval to make it close, plus 150. I'm going Van. I think he unleashes fury in this fight. I think he puts on a performance of the lifetime. And I think everybody's going to be talking about Joshua Van after this one. We're going to be freaking out. Joshua Van getting it done over Brandon Royval is my prediction. Let's get to the co-main event. Flyweight Championship. Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. Now, this is a rematch. They fought an exhibition fight on The Ultimate Fighter, and Pantoja was able to pull through against a dangerous kickboxer in Kara-France back then. And both of them have improved leaps and bounds since that early fight. Now, Alexandre Pantoja, I am picking. I believe he's going to win. And I have been a Pantoja doubter throughout the championship reign. You guys know. So if he does lose on this one, when I finally pick him and say, all right, I give it to him this time, I think I'm the jinx on it. I feel like Pantoja can win key grappling exchanges and take Kai's back. I think that Pantoja, though he is not nearly as technically sound in striking, can land power hooks as well on Kai Kara-France. Now, France has a sharper kickboxing game. Kai's skill set on the feet, I mean, legit knockout power at flyweight is not a commonality. Violent KO last time with Steve Erceg that got him the title fight after losing 2 in a row. Now, controversial against Albazi 2 years ago, but still close, which I don't love when now you're jumping to Pantoja, who does everything Albazi does a lot better. Lost to Brandon Moreno in the fight before. It was a good back and forth, but the body shots put him out. It was actually interesting. Moreno stopped him on the feet. I think that Pantoja wins the key scrambles, the key clinch and grappling exchanges. I think Kara-France's striking is really good, but I think Pantoja can force some takedowns. I see Kai making it a fight, though. I definitely think he's going to have moments, but something tells me Pantoja capitalizes on these key moments and takes the back of Kai in the later stages of the rounds, right? Threatens with the rear naked choke, maybe even gets a rear naked choke. I could see Kai lighten him up earlier in rounds, especially earlier in the fight. But as the rounds go on, Pantoja eventually finds the range, closes the gap, gets the fight to the ground. Pantoja has shown an unreal chin, which is something I have to rate here. And I think the ability to absorb big damaging shots and walk through the fire, that's got to lean me towards the Pantoja side. I think that he's going to be able to deal with Kai's nasty stand-up game for sure. But it's not like Pantoja is terrible on the feet. And Pantoja just finds ways to win these fights, man. When all's looking like shit, he takes you down and he takes your back. And when he takes your back, it's damn hell to get out of that position. To get a damn hair in my mouth, yo. It's getting long over here. I'm going with Alexandre Pantoja. I think that he defends the belt. I don't think it's a walk in the park. I lean towards the side of maybe a later stage submission or a hard-fought decision where the grappling is the key. Now, if it's just striking, yes, I favor Kai Kara-France's stand-up. Kai's striking scary, man. He's sharp. He's a blade on the feet. Alexandre Pantoja on the other side, he's relentless. Relentless threat of grappling. Yes, he's not as technical in stand-up, but I could see him catching Kai with big power hooks, the way he flurries shots together. He doesn't do things in like a traditionalist kickboxing manner, but it's effective in the way that he does it. I'm going to say that Alexandre Pantoja finds a way to beat Kai Kara-France here, and I'm going to pick him to get it done. Now, as far as the scales, Kai's looking jacked as we've ever seen. Kai's looking jacked as we've ever seen. Now, I know he's got the Maori blood, but I've always wondered, is he half white? Can somebody tell me the information, or he just looks white? I'm genuinely curious. Anybody from that region want to let me know in the comments? I want to know. I want to know details from my people. I could look it up online, but I prefer the people telling me. And then we got Pantoja looking shredded, incredible shape. Gonna really push his, reign into that dominance era and, get his name in that conversation with the flyweight goats. I mean, he is on his way to it. Something about the face-off seemed important here. Kai Kara-France, doing it. The haka, what a badass. I like how he does it here in this face-off, but you know what? Pantoja, didn't even react. Pantoja's a stone-cold killer. Look at him just looking into Kai's soul. There is this energy about Pantoja at this face-off that just seems like the champion knows. It's this confidence that's calm, that he doesn't need to do anything, no antics, just staring into your soul like, I am that guy. I'm the motherfucker. And it's like, I'm looking here, I'm like, I've seen that before. I've felt that before from, high-level champs. And I think Pantoja keeps a belt for Brazil here. I think that he does. I'm picking Alexandre Pantoja. I think he's going to beat Kai Kara-France. I could see him taking his back and choking him out, especially if we get this real leveled up Pantoja, because he don't look like he's showing any signs of slowing down. I feel like he's still getting better. Minus 220 for Pantoja, plus 185 for Kai Kara-France. And then looking towards anything else here, the line's a little wide. I'm picking Kai to win, but I haven't been I'm picking Pantoja to win. Oh my God, is that a bad jinx? Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Knock on wood 3 times. I need a sip of this drink. I'm panicking now. I'm picking Pantoja. I haven't been crazy about it. Go out and bet Pantoja. Over 1.5 at minus 425 seems pretty likely. Bet inside of this fight just doesn't really get me. Doesn't get me like that. Yeah, that's it. Pantoja Samish plus 200, not worth it to me. Pantoja decision plus 190, not interested. Not interested, really. But if you are, I think he's live for a submission or decision. I think those are the most viable options for him. Pantoja, most takedowns land. Minus 600. Call it a lock. Strikes dead even. Pantoja over 77.5. I don't know why. I feel like this Kai line could hit at 73.5, even in a loss, especially over 5 rounds if they go distance. Over 2.5 takedowns, minus 190. He is probably live for 3 takedowns. That wouldn't surprise me. Maybe more. Could be 4. Spread on Pantoja, spread on Kai. Not interested. I'm going to pick Pantoja to win, man. Just digging a little deeper on the analysis for you guys, since I know, they give a lot of options with these high-level pay-per-views. Some of you guys going out with prize picks and whatnot, or, different significant strikes or takedown plays. So I want to at least give you guys my opinion. I've heard some people tell me, bro, I'm glad you started doing that. I got you. I'm going Alexandre Pantoja. When there's a will, there's a way. Let's get to the main event of the evening. If you guys are watching and enjoying, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Yes, my pick is Ilia Topuria. It's been Ilia all week. It's been Ilia since this fight was announced. Boxing combinations are unreal. He's leading the way of the new generation with the not just 1, 2, 3, the 4, 5, 6, the game changers, these punch combinations that span longer, find big openings. And then you have Charles Oliveira, who does kind of leave his head on the center line, does have susceptibilities to power shots. We've seen it throughout his championship run. He was getting dropped left and right. Getting dropped in all of his fights as champ. Finds ways to come back and win. Of course, he's a badass. Charles Oliveira is a beast, but very hittable in his prime of primes. Now, not the champion anymore. 2-2 over his last 4. Yes, it's Makhachev and it's Sarukian on a split decision, but it ain't been Ilia Topuria yet. I've said this for years. Someone who has the ability to outstrike Charles, right, and then follow him to the ground, not just knock him down and then try and get him to come back to his feet because he recovers well. We saw it with Gaethje landing big shots. We've seen it with Poirier landing big shots. But on the ground, Charles is going to win that battle. He's going to win that war, or he's going to catch you with a big shot and then club and sub you. Michael Chandler, another one. The first time, not the second time. I look at Ilia Topuria's punching ability, and I'm like, yo, the way he ripped shots, the way he chinned Max Holloway, who's a nasty boxer, the way he violently stopped Volk. Like, I think Topuria just finds the shot at some point. And I think of the past 2 opponents, Oliveira is the worst defensively. He's the worst at blocking shots. He's the worst at evading shots. He's the worst at slipping shots of both Max Holloway and Volk. And they both were violently chinned. Now, you could say, oh, but we're up in weight. I think Topuria's ready to rock at 155. I think Topuria is going to catch Oliveira with some thunderous shots. I could see body work being a factor. Oliveira being very uncomfortable and then caught up high, too. Like, I see Topuria maybe hurting him with a hook to the body and then ripping him up high and just putting him out, putting him down, ground and pound. Oliveira's turtling up and just Topuria landing bombs. I do see Topuria getting wilted. Or excuse me, I see Topuria wilting Oliveira. I'm going to 1, 2, 5, 6. All right. Holy shit. Getting myself nervous. I think Topuria wilts Charles Oliveira. I think Topuria is going to look dangerous here. I think he knocks Charlie O out. It's also like a battle of primes, Oliveira, towards, that final stretch. Not saying he's washed, but the final stretch. He didn't look great against Chandler, to be fair. He dominated the fuck out of him. I don't think he can do that to Topuria. Topuria's got high-level grappling, underrated grappling. Now, I get it, Topuria, a little bit smaller, right? But I feel like he'll fill into this 55-pound frame fine, and I think his power translates, and I think his power is ultimately the key difference maker between him and Charles Oliveira. I think we're going to see Ilia Topuria starch Charlie O on the feet. I remember the early days of Charlie O. I was always a fan, even when he was catching L's off L's. I remember when he fought Efrain Escudero back in the day. I think it was his UFC debut. It's the first time I saw him. I was like, yo, who is this Brazilian dude? And listen, amazing career. Legend, for sure. Hall of Famer, for sure. It's Ilia Topuria's time now. I think the boxing is vastly superior. The power is a massive threat, and I think the power is going to be the ultimate difference maker. But it's not just raw power. It's the punch precision. Ilia Topuria is a nasty combination puncher, and Oliveira is not ready for it. Topuria's boxing combinations are one of one. He looks like a pro boxer out there ripping shots. And I think he's going to starch Charles Oliveira on the feet. I'm going Ilia Topuria as the new lightweight champ. And then Sarukian made weight. He's getting himself a title shot soon. Let's check out the scales. Maybe he's not getting it next, but one more fight and he's in. He proved to the UFC. He got on their good side. Oliveira looked decent, but as usual, Oliveira's having a hell of a weight cut. He definitely had a hell of a weight cut. Topuria looked good. There's some controversy around his weigh-ins. Because they said 55 and a half, then they go back, look at the scales. Oh, no, 55. Now, he did have a gold chain on. I'm not sure if he would have took the skeevies off, took the chain off. He's definitely at 55, if anybody's worried. Oh, he didn't make the weight. Dog, look at Topuria. Regardless of that 55 weird debacle. But then he went back and they weighed him and they said 55, not 55 and a half. You could say, oh, the scale was still moving. Like, I get the argument factor. But I really think that he was on weight. I don't think they're scheming. And if they are scheming, I don't think it makes a difference. I think if he would have got the box around him, he would have been on weight. And it doesn't look like Ilia Topuria had this treacherous weight cut to 155. It's like, oh my God, it was so hard for him to make this weight. He barely made it. They screwed it on the scales. Like, bro, remember Khabib in his prime? Dead man on the scale, finding ways around it. Cormier with the towel gate, We've seen a lot worse. I think Topuria was looking pretty good on the scale. He looks jacked. He looks like a legit lightweight, but it doesn't look like a death weight cut, which for somebody that has the explosive ability and knockout power like him, I think that the power translates well up to 155. He may even hit harder with the same speed. That's terrifying for everybody at the weight class. Yeah, I'm picking Ilia Topuria to violently knock out Charles Oliveira. The odds for Oliveira plus 325 is a huge underdog. Topuria minus 425 as the favorite. Now, ultimately, you guys know I'm calling the KO. I think under 2.5 is live at minus 155. I think that the knockout by Topuria, it feels certain to me. He's calling first round KO, but it could be after the fact. But I definitely think he's landing big shots, so I'll lean first round with him. I'll say yes. KO minus 170, Topuria. Round 1 KO for Topuria plus 275. I feel like he's going to end up getting him out of there in round 1. Like, if it hits round 2, I'm not going to sit here, oh my God, shocked, I was wrong. But something hunches me towards trusting that it's round 1, because I think unless Charlie O can nab a takedown, which I don't think he's gonna be so vulnerable to power shots, and Topuria is coming for his fucking head. Plus 275 for first round KO. I think it is a possibility here. Real possibility if you want a little extra plus money, but obviously plus 275. Never great for like bets like that, right? You're looking for more like 5-1, 4 at the low end. Most significant strikes, Topuria minus 285. I mean, yeah, but it could only take one. Bro, look at that. Over 38.5. It could be at minus 115, but it could be less. It could be less with the power of Topuria. You could shut him off like that. Scorecards, no action, minus 500. The spread on Topuria, minus 360. If you think Charlie O makes it a close fight, plus 255, I'd say probably yes to the spread, but I think it's a finish. I'm going KO, Ilia Topuria. I'm saying he takes out the former king. Violent knockout. I think we're going to see Topuria do it in round 1. I remember, Charles Oliveira did have some troubles with that 55-pound scale as champion, and it cost him the belt a couple of times and whatnot. Then he had to chase for it. But my thought process is he did make 54.5 here, which is great, but that could even potentially make him more vulnerable for an early KO and not recover like he did once in his prime. Yeah, I think Ilia Topuria by KO feels very right here. I'm picking him to get the knockout, and I think it's going to be violent. I'm going Ilia Topuria to win the UFC 317 main event to become the lightweight champion, and they hit the Lock City parlay because I got Topuria and Van Savage Lock City, and I think that's a perfect segue for us to get into the parlay. So I want to cover what we've talked about earlier on in the week, and maybe I'll build upon it. I'm not going to go in depth about everything. You can see it on the screen, and I talked about it Wednesday, but ones that are keys that stick out to me, Lock City, plus 125, Topuria Van, seems really confident, seems really good. Topuria Diniz, minus 165, safe but boring. But see, I wanted to add, all right, Topuria to win by KO makes perfect sense to me. I think Topuria is going out and getting a violent knockout. So Topuria by KO, yeah, it's in the favorite status. But if you parlay it up and you're like, yo, I think Diniz is getting a knockout too, which I think he's definitely live to do. Diniz by KO around minus 143. Now, you got plus 173 for Topuria and Diniz to get KOs. I think they both do. Now, if you want to take that a step further and you want to go D-Gen mode, I'll read it off again. You threw a Joshua Van on your slate. Now you're looking at plus 400. Topuria KO, Diniz KO, Van. That's a little special action call, all right? That's a little special action call. Let me bring it up on the screen for the people, all right? Look, right there. A little special action. It's around that range. Obviously, there's slight variance. And, I think it comes through. Felipe Lima, minus 180, plus 678, but I'm going to take it a step further. Felipe Lima to win via sub. You can see I have Lima sub, Van decision, Topuria KO at plus 2988 as a Savage 3-leg at the bottom. This is going to be a little alternate to that I started feeling post-weigh-in. If you want to go D-Gen mode, Lima by submission with Diniz KO and Topuria KO and Joshua Van, plus 3,152. This is for the D-Gen plus money chasers that are looking for something crazy. Now, if you're like, yo, let me take Van out, you still got plus 1,674, which is ultimately a relatively live line as well. I don't think that's like a terrible call or anything like that. That's one of those, hey, it's a possibility for sure. Now, you can see, like, Topuria, Rodrigues, McKinney. You asked me after the weigh-ins, McKinney worries me a tad. I was more confident Wednesday, didn't love the scale, but ultimately, I still think he can pull through. If you want to take McKinney away, maybe you're like, yo, fuck this parlay, I'm cashing out, I want to go somewhere else with it. 100% understandable. 100% understand the mentality. Now, I wanted to go a little post-weigh-in D-Gen status a little step further. So, Topuria KO, Diniz KO, Lima submish. Then if you threw Jacobe Smith by KO, also on your lineup at minus 265. And then let's say you just have faith. You go in Van to pull through. Now you got plus 4,380. All right. I feel like I just gotta go balls to the wall right now. If we go, it seems dumb. Delgado by Samish just came to my head. I'm like, fuck it. I just want something crazy. Plus 24,985. Complete degenerate. Not telling you to do this. There's some folks that like to throw the degen shit down. Of course, you know me, bro. I tell you how to win. Two-leg confident plays. Topuria and Diniz at minus 165 is beautiful. The overs in Van and Royval and Cortez Araujo, both hitting minus 150. That's pretty damn likely. You're not going to get the exciting plus money, but yo, it's plus money if you're still winning. The Lock City parlay is Lock City for a reason. I ain't trying to get too carried away talking about the degen shit, guys. All right, because the degen shit plus 24,000 is off the rip, man. Something's just telling me. I feel like I'm off ripskis, but I'm really not. I'm chilling. Shit can go wild, man. Shit can go wild. If you went Slava round 2, he's go against all instincts. Go against all instincts one last time. All right. I just don't want to end the show yet. I'm having too good of a time talking about all these what if factors. Topuria KO, Diniz KO, Lima sub, Smith by KO, Joshua Van, and let's just say Terrence McKinney sells us. Let's say Terrence McKinney loses. And you're like, fuck it. Let me go Slava by KO in round 2. You got plus 44,000. I'm telling you, the odds of this hitting are probably similar to hitting the lottery. But, you know, just to have some fun, let me drop that off. I recommend, if you're throwing heat down, lots of cash, of course, you're going towards the safe but boring and the Lock City style, you know? And you should be doing your research too and seeing where you line up with mine, not blindly tailing. Now, if you're blindly tailing, just throwing some bucks, that's different. If you're throwing serious capital, you should do a little research too to put, you know, one brain, two brain makes things better. But this is what I'm thinking. Overall, for UFC 317, I feel like we got some heaters, and I'm very excited for this card. I will be live for the entire thing, so don't miss the fight companion. W to the people. I love you guys. Thank you for the support. Smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on, and don't forget to share the video. Send it to a group chat with your buddies. I'm sure somebody you know likes MMA, all right? W in the comments if you got nothing to say, but definitely let me know what you thought of my picks. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I will see you all for the fight companion. Much love. Good night. Peace out.